Thank you. Good evening. We'll call this meeting of the City of Hawarden, Iowa to order on Wednesday, October the 26th, 2016 at 5:30 p.m. Present are all staff. Council other than Councilperson Travis Olson tonight has an emergency. Regular agenda items are on the agenda, and standard agenda items there also. We will start first with the first standard agenda item, number 1A, approval of the October 12th, 2016 City Council meeting minutes. You have those in your packet.
So moved.
Moved by Payne. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Tim. All in favor then of the October 12th City Council meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That passes 4-0. Next is approval of claims for payment. We'll start with John for any questions, please.
No questions, thanks.
Payne, questions on
None,
payment?
thank you.
Tim? No. Monty, questions?
So moved.
Been a motion by Monty. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Tim. All in favor then of the claims for payment for October 26th, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, again, that passes 4-0. Next is open business from the community. Anyone wish to address the council? Your turn. Microphone's on, I believe.
My name is John DeVries, and from some of you probably know why I'm here. Pertaining to the property right next to mine, this is a real eyesore. And I did take some pictures if you want to look at it, or just better off to go down and look at it yourself. Then they did clean the junk up on the south side of the trailer. There was a lot of sheetrock out in front of the trailer. The poor lady that lived in there, rest her soul, told me that when it rained, she had to put pans out to catch the water because the roof leaks. And it's very, you can see it from the west side. And I get the privilege of picking shingles up every time there's an east wind, north, southeast, whatever. It blows real hard, I get to pick them up. And they mow the front yard. Got to give them credit for that. The backyard, not so much. Trees 3-4 foot tall back there. The windows, most of them are, a majority of them are single pane and broke. And Bill told me he put new carpet in there after that lady passed away. There is none. And I have pictures of the inside. I went and got some pictures this evening. As a taxpayer, I was thinking that maybe, you know, something, I know Bill's probably hard to get in to do anything, but he should do something with that place. It just sits there. Whoever rents it is going to pay high utility bills. That one lady that lived there said it was $450 a month. She was on assistance. We're wasting money. And then I get the privilege of putting up with the tenants he had in there. The last two, the last lady that passed away, she was a nice lady. But the other two, I had fights in my yard. I had to go out there and take care of a few of them myself, tell them to get off my property, or I'll call the police. And they've been there, and they know who I'm talking about. Been there several times. It's just, I didn't get a picture of the one spot, and that's the north of the trailer house where the soffit and fascia is gone towards the peak. The trailer's coming apart on the top. And I watched bats flying out there the other night, which at least they're not bothering my place. What else is there? I got a list here that I think something should be done with it myself. I know it's a long road to hoe to try to get anything done with it. But it devaluates my property, and as a taxpayer, I think they should do something. I told Bill I'll buy the property. Pull that out of there. I'll buy it for what it was offered to me when the Beerman's trailer got out. Trailer's building, or the Beerman's trailer went out, got another one in its place. So, I don't know what he's going to do with it. Talked to him 3 times. He says, I wish the city would condemn it. I said, they shouldn't have to. It's yours. You know what kind of shape it's in. One of his employees went in there to do some work. He come right back out and said, I'm not going in there. There's mold in the walls. Health hazard. So, and I had on my list too about the Waterman's little house there. The guy that used to live there lived in the van. The dogs lived in the house. And they come in there and did a little bit of work, and I haven't seen them since. and they mowed twice this year. So it's pretty hard to make my place look good when nobody else wants to. The other neighbors were so mad about the people that were in it, but you can't get anybody to sign a paper and bring it in here to you guys. They don't want to rock the boat. I said, well, I don't have any problem with it. So that's about all I got.
Thank you for coming in, giving us that information. Obviously, we'll get something addressed on that, the capability of that, so.
Rick, did you want to look at some pictures?
Why don't you just leave them with our staff and be glad to look at them at the conclusion of the meeting, John? If you would.
It just seems to me that if it was,
Yep.
anybody has a nice house,
You
wouldn't
bet.
want it next to theirs either.
Yep, you can give them with Gary, and
Yep.
thank you very much for taking those.
Where is this?
John, your address is,
808 8th.
okay,
It's just adjacent property next to me. And what I did find out from Sioux County, the engineer, it was supposed to have a block foundation under it. Of course, Coffee was here at the time. Well, he let that slide under the table. And he put it's supposed to have been a variance, and whoever's really close, supposed to be notified. Didn't do that either. Of course, it's old business now, but what are you gonna do?
okay, thank you.
And thanks for your time.
Yep, our pleasure.
Thanks, John.
Any other open business from the community? Hearing none, we'll move to the mayor's report. A lot of great happenings up at West Sioux Schools. We want to congratulate Haley Pullman on qualifying again for the state cross-country meet to be held Saturday at Fort Dodge. She represents our community and the school very nicely, and we wish for her much success in the race. West Sioux football team has qualified again for the playoffs. They begin with the game this Friday night at West Sioux. We'd encourage you to support these young people and thank them for their hard work. There are many upcoming activities with the holidays through the Hawarden Chamber of Commerce. Please take advantage of these events. And as you know, Halloween will be observed on Monday the 31st. For the safety of those that are trick-or-treating, please turn on your porch lights if you are participating in handing out goodies to any of those folks that stop. Anything from council this evening? Hearing none, we'll move then to staff reports. Mike, anything from your position there?
Nothing.
Okay. Jim?
Nope, nothing to report.
Pam, anything financially?
No.
Okay, thank you. Tom?
I have one thing, streetlight project update. We are still waiting for the breakaway bolt sets for the new poles on the south side. They are scheduled to be in actually tomorrow. And Voltmer Electric, who has the contract, indicated if the bolts arrive as planned, they're going to send a second and maybe a third crew next week to hopefully finish the project up fairly quickly. It's coming along pretty good, so. And if you notice some of the bases on the south side on the east end, I believe there's 6 of them in a 2-block area. Each one of them is poured around the gas main, similar to what on the north side was. We have 2 of them on that side. So it's about a 700-foot stretch that we'll probably have to get a new gas line in there and some new services in. So that over time, that gas line is moving with the temperature changes, and it's been rubbing on those concrete bases. I'm sure the pipe's not in ideal shape anyway, so we're gonna try and get that replaced. That's all I have.
I do have the map up there of the gas line that's going to be replaced on the south side. It gives you some idea about where it's at. It's kind of,
Starts at the Leafstead houses. Any of you remember that? And goes east to the end of the line there.
Will it cause any disruption for anybody?
No, we'll keep everybody on.
Okay. Thank you, Gary.
Well, the only thing I have tonight is, just want to remind everybody that in November and December, we typically only have one council meeting. The second meeting in November is the night before Thanksgiving, and in December is really close to Christmas as well. So if you have things that you'd like on the agendas in November, December, just keep in mind that we'll be having, unless you guys want something other than that, we'll attempt to only have one meeting in each of those months, so we don't conflict with the holidays. And so, just a reminder.
Thank you. Questions for staff before we continue? Agenda item number 3, hospital update. Jason Pullman, please.
Thank you and good evening. Just like to thank the council for allowing us to close the street to help us move all the construction rigs over there, and they have been moved over, I believe, this week, and we should see Bill Boyer starting to take the trees down around the perimeter of the block. And some of those trees were designed to come down, and then when we started looking at the overall condition and quality of all the trees around the property, we decided it was well worth our time to take all of them out, and then replace the sidewalk completely on two sides of the organization. So that's what we are going to do. So Bill should be taking the trees out probably starting tomorrow. And then some massive grading will be done on Monday, Tuesday, and then hopefully we'll get some concrete poured. I think the first concrete pour will be November 7th. They'll start pouring the concrete on November 7th. So that's coming along. Of course, we're getting close to winter time, and we want to get as much of that done as possible. Hopefully the weather will hold out for us. But they're still working on the inside. The radiology equipment was delivered today, and OR booms are in, and so emergency lights in the trauma are in. Some of the flooring's done. So they're continuing to work diligently to get us into that thing as soon as possible. I wish I had a date or at least a 2-week time frame that said, hey, we're going to actually be in there. So I've been pressing Jason Steinke to say, hey, can I at least have a window of when we can anticipate moving in, because there's a lot of planning that has to happen months ahead of time. So we're going to try to pin that down next week or two and figure out when the move-in date is. So otherwise, things are going good. We're under budget time frame. We're a little behind, of course, but we're not significantly behind compared to other projects. Taylor from USDA was out, and she was very pleased with our progress and where we're sitting, and so things are actually going very well with all the challenges that we have. So, any questions?
Questions from council? Good. Thanks again.
Thanks again.
Good luck on Saturday.
Yeah, thanks.
In your packet, agenda item number 4, approval of fiscal 2016 urban renewal report. Gary, you want to give an overview with that?
Yeah, there's a lot to say. It's these are all events that have been approved by the council throughout the years, but we have to file an annual report showing what the tax increment financing dollars have been spent on. And I guess the 2 points I'd like to make is that our TIF revenue was around $500,000. We've reached a point with one of our TIF areas that it's really not valid any longer. It's no longer valid to continue taking revenue. And again, you read about abuses of TIF, and TIF's a great tool if it's used properly, but it's time for us to end that TIF area. And so that will expire this next year. So $200,000 of that money will go into the general fund, or not into the general fund. It will go into the normal taxing valuations. So we will get approximately 50% of that. So our general fund will increase by about $100,000. Some of our TIF revenue will go away, but we will increase our general fund by about close to $100,000 next year. So it will be a real benefit to the city and the taxpayer in the long run. We can't just continue these TIF districts forever. That's not what they're designed to do. So they're designed to serve a purpose, pay off the debt that they were associated with, and then you should get out of them. So, and this one has expired anyway, and so we need to do so. So that's probably going to be the biggest difference moving forward, is that money will be shifted into our general fund rather than TIF revenue. So
That was TIF area number 1.
that's TIF area number 1, which is it would be in the northern part of the community and residential district that that will go away. So.
Any other questions? Any questions for that report? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion for approval of the fiscal year 2016 Urban Renewal Report.
So moved.
Moved by Tim. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by John. Any questions? All in favor of that approval of the Urban Renewal Report for 2016, say aye.
Right.
Those opposed? Passes 4-0. Thank you. Next is kind of a review draft of the future capital expenditure spreadsheet, and I'll pass that to Gary also.
Yeah, and this is something that we as staff started to put together, realizing that Tom and I are both going to be retiring at some point, hopefully sooner than later. And again, we just think it's a good idea to have a kind of a base guide as far as projects that need to be done and kind of a timeline of when we think they may occur. This by no means will obligate the city to any project at any time, but it does give us kind of a planning tool, and for future councils, you know, when terms are up and new folks are elected, it's nice to have something moving forward that has some consistency with it. And so that's kind of the main purpose for putting this together. What I'd like to do is just let you guys, you know, take some time and look it over and see if you have other projects or other things that you might want to add into this tool, and we can kind of just use it as a moving target or more of a strategic planning tool that we can use for future budget years and project years, so that we can kind of keep in mind what everybody's maybe talked about here, or at the staff level, or suggestions that maybe council or mayor or even citizens have had that it kind of lays it out there in a format that we can all look at and go, oh yeah, we've talked about that. So so if you could take some time and look at it, and I'll maybe have it on the agenda for the next couple of meetings, so that if you have some discussion, we can have it. And in the meantime, I just kind of want to get a basic draft of something that shows what our thoughts are that the city may need to do over the course of the next, you know, most specifically 5 years, but even beyond that, some things that probably need to be done that we'll need to find ways to finance. So that was really the only purpose for it. I didn't expect there to be a lot of discussion on it tonight, other than just to present it and let you guys take it home and mull it over and see if you had some things you wanted to add. So.
And citizens be able to access this also on the website in our minutes?
Yes, this will be on the website in the council proceedings. Yep, for the public to access. So.
Questions or thoughts about that this evening?
Just wondering about the vehicles and stuff, is that?
Those are smaller items, unless you get into for instance, a $200,000 or $300,000 fire truck.
Yeah.
But most of those are in a capital equipment fund.
Okay.
So we have a capital equipment fund. These are really major project expenditures that are going to have to occur, that aren't a vehicle replacement type of expenditure.
Thank you for looking toward the future with that. Move on to agenda item number 6, Big Sioux River Historical Society request for additional annual funding. That's in your packet. Tim had mentioned last week that Big Sioux River Historical Society would be requesting some funding changes, so that's on the agenda tonight. Tim, or Gary, Tim, you want to drive that?
I'm going to let Tim speak on the behalf of the Historical Society. I presented the information to you guys that he shared with me, so,
Well, basically, we're just trying to cover things when we can't. We don't have a budget right now where we're able to just do something when we have I don't call it an emergency, but it's a big problem that when the ceiling started leaking at the old city hall and also the mold problem at the historical house. And we just don't have that in our budget, and we've got a lot of roofs and things that, I think there's 4 more. We've done like 8 roofs at Calliope in the last 8 years, but there's like 4 more that are pretty well on their way that need replacing. And if we don't get those grants, then we're stuck with having those buildings start leaking too. So what we're trying to get is, I'd like to get a $10,000 allocation for tonight for the old city hall, and then start getting $3,000 a quarter as a separate item. This is if you don't want to do the city hall, but I still would like to do $12,000 a year for capital improvements of the.
So what you want is a 400% increase in your budget?
We've made $200,000 in the last 8 years
That is
for
not
this
what I asked
city.
you.
I'm
You
just
want
saying, it's not
200, you want a 400% increase in your budget.
I want a realistic budget, yes. If it's 400%.
Why are we doing this now and not budget time?
Because we got a problem now. We didn't have.
That doesn't change the budget a bit. You got a problem, you got a problem. But I don't see why this gets to come before the council as a special thing because it's your pet project.
It's not my pet project.
It apparently is, because I don't see anybody else sitting here saying I want new budget
I
amendment.
didn't know if we needed a big audience. I mean, we can get the people to come if
No.
that makes a difference
Do
to
we,
you.
do we need HIDCO to come and say, we don't have enough money, we'd like more money? Do I need the park board to come and say we want more money?
Who's head go? I don't.
You know, economic development. Why should Missouri River get more say,
Missouri River,
more, the Missouri River Historical Society, that's you,
Big Sioux River.
whatever. I don't know why it's on the agenda for now.
'Cause I asked
If it was, I understand that, but my advice, strong recommendation would be to put this on at budget time and discuss it then. Because I have no idea where $12,000 is going to come from. I mean, who's going to give it up? Is the fire department going to give it up? You know, park board going to give it up? We don't have an unlimited supply of money here.
No, but we're
No, do
we're
we
raising
want
money
to-
for this city, so I'm saying that we should be able to have some of the money.
Can I finish?
Well, then don't say we're just sitting there, we don't have it to come. We've
Fine.
gotten 200,000
I make the motion
in
that
8
this
years.
problem be tabled until budget time.
And just put buckets under the leaks in the roof, huh? Is that what you're
Or
saying?
tear the buildings down, yeah.
Yes. Doc here.
Just a second. There's, Wanda, do you want to
Motion to table.
table everything, even the request for the
It's
funding
one
to
agenda
fix the
item, I
roof?
want to table the whole mess.
Okay. There's been a motion to table the Big Sioux River Historical request for additional annual funding. Is there a second?
Is this something we can make provisions for specific emergencies at the time? Not necessarily update the budget, but if there is an emergency that we see fit for the community to fix, vote on those specific requests? I mean, is that always an option, whether the budget is amended?
That would be a budget amendment, right? And as I see the request, it's looking like Big Sioux River Historical Society is requesting a $10,000 assistance today to fix the roof, and then discussion on increasing their budget. And as Monty said, that would be appropriate at budget time, when we get to budget time. If they requested, if the council were to offer or to allow them to have $10,000 to fix their roof, that money would come from probably one of the areas of building that's already in the general city budget, correct?
Yeah, we'd have to find it from somewhere. We have a general fund capital facility fund, but that's probably where it would have to come from if we were going to do that, but that would be your choice, your decision, but where you'd want to fund it from. But.
Okay. Again, there is a motion from Monty to table all discussion for additional annual funding and Big Sioux River Historical Society request. Is there a second? Hearing no second, that motion drops.
I agree in part. I'd make a motion to table the budget discussion until budget time, as he said, and table the roof repair until next meeting, where we can discuss that and see estimates, or have a time to look at the budget to see if we
Well,
can afford to take it out somewhere.
basically, the reason we're trying to get the 10,000 now is, when I talked to Jeff, he was saying possibly, it might be too late already, I don't know, it depends on the weather. And the later we wait, that's the reason I put it up right now. It wasn't that it's getting cold, and that spray foam, to put another layer on, you have to have a warm day. But if you don't want to do it, we don't have to do it. We're the council, you decide.
Both motions you've got right now are basically to table.
Table the budget discussion until budget time, and then,
Well, and the other to the next meeting, so
Yes.
you're kind of right
Yep.
now, it's still, it is a table unless somebody makes a different motion.
Correct.
I would second Payne's motion. Take some time to look at the conditions for the foam. It might be too late right now, the way it is. But yeah, then table budget until budget time.
Been a motion by Payne, a second by John to table the Big Sioux River Historical Society request for additional annual funding, and then again address their request for additional yearly funding to do that at budget time. Is that correct in your wording?
Yep.
Okay. Been a motion and a second. Any further discussion with that motion? All in favor of that motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No?
Passes 3-1. Last agenda item is a consent agenda, request from Brian Engelman for a liquor license transfer on October the 29th.
so moved.
Second.
Motion by Payne, seconded by John. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, it passes 4-0. Our next regular stated meeting, as Gary mentioned, will be November the 9th. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
By Payne, is there a second?
Second?
Seconded by Tim. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Hayward City Council is adjourned.